The 5-year anniversary of the 1932 Geneva strike. 5 years ago today, the workers of Geneva began a major industrial action, demanding social and economic reforms, which threatened to spread to the rest of French-speaking Western Switzerland, known as Romandy. Burp, that wouldn't come out. Where was I? Fearful of potential revolutionary influence by the Commune of France, the central government in Bern reacted swiftly by sending the Federal Army to break the strike. In the ensuing violence, 13 were killed and over 100 injured in Geneva. This has left a bitter divide between the Romandy and Bern, which over the subsequent years has failed to heal. Encouraged by recent developments in France, the radical left has begun to agitate once more, and is planning on standing socialist candidates in the upcoming local elections. However, the Social Democrats, traditionally very strong in the Romandy, have devised a reform package in conjunction with the trade unions, the Peace of Work Agreement, which involves a number of policies regarding wage increases, shift times, and so on. One of the key points is to put an end to the massive lockouts in watch manufacturers which have taken place recently. The Social Democratic candidates are relying on this program to be re-elected and hopefully defuse the standoff between the radical left and the conservative-dominant federal government in Bern. An unfortunate development. Jack Reed assassinated. Oh, there's still a standoff in America. Oh, but the syndicalists are nowhere to be found. It's John Garner versus Huey Long Dong himself. No syndicalist. Okay, so this doesn't avoid a civil war altogether, but it does avoid syndicalism. Very interesting. I don't meet the requirements? It says I need one of the following. Do I actually need all of the following? Well, if it turns out that I actually need all of the following, then I guess we'll try and do that as fast as possible. Socialist election victory in Romandy. Backed by the conservative federal government and the majority of the German-speaking cantons, the Swiss employers' organizations have refused to sign the so-called Peace of Work Agreement, proposed by the Social Democrats to put an end to the massive lockouts happening in the watch manufactories. While the moderate Social Democrats have been disgraced, French-speaking workers whose resentment towards the current government and the federal army has been growing since the violent repression of a workers' strike in Geneva in 1932, have returned a landslide victory to socialists and pro-syndicalist candidates in the cantonal regions, or elections, bringing in leftist councils in Geneva. Seine and that place, which are now calling for ambitious reforms. Damn those socialists. But I banned them!
Auftrag.
Socialists propose reconciliation with France. As a part of their ambitious syndicalist-styled plan to recover the Swiss economy, socialist leaders in the Romandy have proposed that the Swiss government save the economy through reconciliation with the Commune of France. Ever since Switzerland began the occupation of Haute-Savoie, the French have embargoed Switzerland and cut off a valuable trade route for the Swiss economy. These socialist leaders have called for the return of this land to France as a sign of goodwill on behalf of Switzerland towards France. Not a chance. An illegal referendum in Savoy. With the federal government in Bern so adamantly opposed to socialist plans for reform, a movement has gained popularity for an organized referendum on sovereignty in Haute-Savoie. The socialists believe that if the Savoyards can be shown to wish reunification with the Commune of France, the government will have to support their plans. Bern has caught wind of this illegal referendum taking place in the region soon, and has vowed that such a vote outside of the law will not be allowed to take place. Stop this at once. There it is, the Second American Civil War. But it's a two-way civil war, and I do not think the American Union State will have this. Violence in Haute-Savoie. The day of the proposed referendum has come, and violence runs rampant in Haute-Savoie. Swiss military presence in the occupied zone, on high alert on orders from Bern, has clashed repeatedly with socialist and syndicalist protesters, attempting to organize the vote in the area. Dozens have been beaten and bloodied, and the region is in a state of disarray as military forces and socialist agitators from Romandy clash in the streets. It is only a matter of time before France hears of this commotion. This got out of hand. Syndicalists claim referendum victory. Days after the violence in Savoy, the Syndicalist Party of Switzerland has declared that the results of the referendum are in, and the region has voted to rejoin the Commune of France. In the chaos, it is impossible to verify the integrity of the vote, and the socialists, who hold the ballots, have not offered to hand anything over to the federal government. Many in Bern doubt the validity of the socialist claim, but it has increasingly seemed like a shouting match between two sides that won't back down. These assaults are illegal and unverified. Luckily, every 90 days I get more stability.
Great. Great.
Costa Rica has joined the Entente. Syndicalist subversion at work in Romandy. While the newly elected socialist government in Romandy has stepped into office, federal intelligence services are reporting that French agents have crossed the border to advise the Romandy leftists, whilst a partial mobilization of French border units near Geneva is also said to be underway. The situation is getting too dangerous, and a move to force the socialist government to step down and have new elections in the Romandy seems inevitable, even if it means temporary military occupation of the Romandy by the Federal Army. But with the violence in Haute-Savoie agitating the French, the risk of triggering an armed response is high, though, and we cannot be sure the Reichspakt support. Disband local governments in French-speaking cantons. Unrest in Romandy. The Federal Council, backed up by local French-speaking conservatives, has ordered SURE, i.e. German-speaking, Federal Army units to enter Roman cantons to introduce martial law. Socialist leaders, as well as many workers and syndicalist sympathizers, have been arrested, and provisional local governments are being set up under federal supervision. In spite of our efforts, some socialist councillors have managed to escape to France, and they are now calling for armed resistance against federal rule and the return of Haute-Savoie to French hands. Despite the repression, the Romandy and now Haute-Savoie are now being plagued by massive strikes and armed incidents, as demobilized French-speaking army units form militias. Meanwhile, an unusual concentration of French infantry and tanks is currently exercising in the Jura Mountains, and violation of Swiss airspace by French aircraft is becoming more and more frequent. Damn those traitors! Things are getting risky. Crisis in Haute-Savoie. With the rising escalations in the Romandy and Haute-Savoie regions, and France's seeming unwillingness to intervene in our internal affairs, the situation in Haute-Savoie looks grim. It is only a matter of time before the situation spirals out of control. We must prepare for the worst. Oh, okay, so it's completed automatically.
Great.
Referendum. Organize the army. It has become clear that the old structure of the Swiss army is no longer fit for the coming years. Previously, the military has relied on a strong reserve of quickly trained volunteers in order to form the backbone of the army when in need, but the rise of strong professional armies all around Switzerland has made this model seem obsolete. This referendum proposes that we reform the army along the German model and create a strong and professional standing force. Should we support this referendum? Absolutely, extensive campaigning. I think I should train some troops. Bro. You're doing it. You better have my back, Germany. Dissent in the Romandy province and the French ultimatum. The French have demanded the return of the province of Haute-Savoie. They have fabricated claims of white terror perpetuated by the Swiss Federation, and syndicalist leaders across Switzerland are getting involved. I cannot guarantee that we will have German support if we stand up to these syndicalist bastards. We must look for protection. Elastic defense it is. Looking for foreign assistance. With the French bearing down upon us, we must look to our neighbors for assistance in the defense of Switzerland. Facing down the might of the French commune is no easy task, and it is unlikely that we will be defended, but we must try all the same. Look to Germany for aid. The German Empire backs our position, oh thank fuck. The German Empire has agreed to back our position in our diplomatic conflict against France. Hopefully we will not need them to resolve this peacefully. We owe them a great deal. Commune of France abandons its claims. After a diplomatic message was received by Paris, they quickly ceased all their diplomatic and undercover activities against us. Swiss independence and territorial integrity will be kept, as well as our national pride. We couldn't have done it without our ally. Ah, thank you, Germany. Full of psychology. Army referendum succeeds. Wonderful. I'm gonna pop a save here. And I'm gonna join the Reichspakt. Selection of a general. In times of peace and stability, the highest attainable rank in the Swiss military is that of colonel. Only in times of great need or looming military conflict is a man promoted to the rank of general in order to lead the defense of the nation. Now that we have been thrust into a time of great crisis, it is time for us to select a general to lead the command of our armed forces. Alright, I have joined the Reichspakt. Hey, and so is Sweden. Oh, there it is. Join Middle Europa? Now that we have chosen to align with the German Empire, an opportunity has risen to join their economic pact, the Central European Economic Union, shortened to Middle Europa. Though this pact is dominated by Germany and its interests enforces several obligations on its member states, it also provides several benefits. Easier trade with Germany and mutual defense in particular. Should we offer to join Middle Europa's sphere and accept these obligations? Just part of the deal, I suppose. The Don-Kuban Union joins the Reichspakt. Ooh. This might be the Reichspakt game. This might be the game where they win. I got a Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth is formed. The Don-Kuban Union is in the Reichspakt too. Finland isn't in it, but I suppose they just didn't get around to it before being declared on. Oh yeah, let's do that. Middle Africa is going to war with Portugal. Memories fade. The bloodless resolution of the crisis in Hot Savoy, syndicalist agitations within the borders of our nation have faded. Old grudges have begun to be forgotten, and a new period of unity is dawning. Those who remain as syndicalist supporters have mostly begun resorting to more peaceable forms of political activism, and the political tension that once gripped the country is no more. We are brothers. Jabal Shamar joined the Cairo Pact. What will they do? Alright, so I have integrated Upper Savoy. I've cored it. It's the Kingdom of Romania.
Great.
Now we wait, I suppose, for the Second Weltkrieg. Alright, let's get that subsidized Swiss steel. Wait, do I have a general now? No, I do not have a field marshal.
Ja. Ja.
Suppose I'll need to promote somebody. Promotion.